to celebrate or to mark that, I guess, we are planning something very special that I think will be a very interesting way and a very interesting opportunity for you, if you've been watching or listening for a while, to interact and maybe experience the show in a new way. We are making our 20th episode a... Welcome back to the Hardpoint, episode number 19. Woo! My name's Josh. I go by One Punch Dad online.
My name is Cody. I go by Coderomes.
And we want to thank you for coming back. If you're watching with us on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. That helps us out a lot. If you're listening, hey, give us a star rating, leave a review. We love that as well. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing quite well. Quite
Good.
well. I'm really excited.
There was
I'm really excited to shoot this.
I was afraid. I'm doing ... God,
leave you on the edge of your seat, you know.
I know.
Can't
it's a guessing
blow
game
the whole
always.
wad right off the bat, you know.
Don't blow the whole wad.
I'm doing really well. I'm quite excited. I'm always excited to record. I'm really excited to talk today, though. Really excited to talk.
It's going to be a good chat. For anyone who's watching, it's episode 19. Next week's going to be our big 2-0, episode 20. Which
Can't believe
it. That's
I feel
enormous.
like we say every week, like, man, I can't believe that we're here. But
exactly.
I really can't believe that we're at 20. That's
I know.
quite wild.
I know. We've just been plugging along. We've done 20 of these, dude. It's insane. So, to celebrate or to mark that, I guess, we are planning something very special that I think will be a very interesting way and a very interesting opportunity for you, if you've been watching or listening for a while, to interact and maybe experience the show in a new way. We are making our 20th episode a live episode.
Yay!
Coming at you live, baby. We are...
Insert audience.
Yes. So we're kind of doing it a unique way. We kind of talked about what the best way to get it in front of people was. We've kind of been... It's always a fight against the algorithm to get it in front of the people who want to see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to live stream episode 20 from my personal YouTube account, which is One Punch Dad, which, oddly enough, a lot of people over there don't even know I host a podcast still. Which is
to this day, we'll get comments on our TikTok videos or whatever, like, is that One Punch Dad? And I'm like, how have you gone this long and not put that
exactly
together?
I've made it very evident that I do have a podcast, and people still don't know. So
blame the algorithm. Don't blame them.
I blame the algorithm. It's not their fault. It is simply a matter of it not being put in front of their face for one reason or the other. Right. So we're going to live stream it over there. You'll still be able to catch the aftermath, whatever, the video of the episode right here on the Hardpoint channel, as you do each week. But we're just kind of trying to use some of the social media oomph that I have that I've brought to bear, and maybe get a little bit of a jump, get people excited, get people interested, because it's fucking hard.
Pause.
A question.
Not real pause. We're still in game, but in game pause.
In game pause. Timeout.
Were we going to upload to your channel, or are we still uploading the Hardpoint? Because I thought we were uploading to your channel, not the Hardpoint, for 1 week.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I should walk that back.
Well, if I'm wrong, tell me.
No, I don't. I thinking about it. I think that's what we agreed to. Yeah, we should do that. Episode 20 will be on One Punch Dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
In-game resume.
In-game resume. So we're going to do the live cast over on One Punch Dad, and then you'll be able to catch the episode over there. So if you're watching this, make sure to follow me. And if in the future, this is me talking to you in the future, if you see a gap between episode 19 and 21, just bear in mind that episode 20 will be on the One Punch Dad channel. It'll still be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff in the same place. And
after that, we'll resume as normal. Everything will be back on the Hardpoint. And this won't be like the only announcement. We'll put it out there other places as a reminder.
You will not miss this episode. We promise. You will get every opportunity to know where this episode dropped.
But, I'm excited. I think, like we said, I feel like when you put something on your channel, it shows it to a new, because you have quite a large audience, it shows it to like a new tiny little segment of your audience. And it seems like every time you post something, we get a little bit of a bump, but it doesn't show everybody. So I think this will just show like a new little segment that maybe hasn't had it put in front of them before.
That is my hope. That is my hope. Doing a live episode, for one, is interesting because a lot of people that don't normally comment or don't normally interact with a video for whatever reason, that's a really good opportunity for them to jump in. And we'll at certain segments, we'll kind of stand down out of podcast mode and we will interact with the chat. So don't let that discourage you from throwing down in the chat for sure. But yeah, it's just real time. It's kind of nerve-wracking because if one thing goes wrong, then
I know
we're stuck troubleshooting in the middle of our episode. But it'll be fine.
We have quite the week of testing in front of us. I think we're going to try and do a few dry runs, make sure that we, all the right buttons are pressed, leave those buttons pressed.
Yeah.
And then maybe even on the day of, just make sure everything is still pressed, because I have been victim to pressing a button and then it unpresses itself.
Yeah, it just decides.
It fucks us. So
yeah, it's we are not a very technologically advanced show. Like we don't do anything that is very difficult. There's no big like stack of preamps and all that stuff and off to the wings.
No,
this is pretty basic stuff, but yet week to week we are thwarted by some checked or unchecked box in a menu deep within.
It's because we don't have a producer. We need a producer to point at and blame when things go wrong. Right now we can only point at each other or ourselves. Yeah. Right now we need a guy.
It's the guy responsible right here.
Hey guy, why is this not working? Why did this not record?
And then we could promptly fire him for his insolence and be right back where we started. I could see it now.
And the cycle continues.
if we had the ability to hire a producer someday, definitely I'm manifesting that. Because producing on top of recording the episode is a lot of work.
Most of the podcasts I listen to, and granted they're bigger with a bigger following than us at the moment, but they do have like the producer guy that does all this. So to give us, you and I, cut ourselves a little bit of slack, we're doing like all of it. Like we are producing and recording, which is
two-man op right here.
Yeah. So everything you see, Hardpoint, it was done by either Josh or I. There's no third person in this. It's all us.
Exactly. And it's fun. We enjoy doing it. It's a great way for us to stay connected. And, I just like sitting and talking a whole lot. So it works for me.
Same here, particularly to you.
Aw, buddy. So anyway, episode 20, catch that on the One Punch Dad channel. Yep. We'll link to that in this week's episode. That way you know where to find it. If you don't already, I have a pretty sneaky suspicion you do.
And plenty of more announcements and reminders throughout the week.
We'll have a little party. I'm not sure I'm saying episode 20. People are probably screaming into their car radio right now. What day? What actual day? What time? More to follow. We're going to tack that down this week. I will give you my solemn promise that by the time this episode drops, we will have a date attached to it. If nowhere else, then probably in the description for this episode. So check the description. Should be down there. Should be all tacked out by then.
What does 20 mean? When is 20?
Yes, when is 20? It's so ethereal. It's fairy dust. It doesn't mean anything.
Very non-specific.
Yeah. We'll get more to follow on that. How you doing, buddy? How was your week?
I'm doing really good. I won't leave you on the edge of your seat that time. I don't know if you want to move into. I am fresh off vacation. Plan on talking about that quite a bit. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of bullet points to my right over here.
Oh snap! He's got an outline.
A lot of talking points. I think that the vacation, and then you actually kind of have some big news yourself, is going to be the meat, if you will, of the episode. But I was kind of wondering before we got that, what have you been crushing?
Oh, snap! He beat me to it. What are you crushing? Yeah, that's a great question, man. So I've got a pretty interesting crush this week, and it's something that swept the world about 4 years ago. Smack when COVID began. It was everywhere you looked was this thing, and out of nowhere, my wife and I were kind of between shows, and we wanted something kind of in the documentary vein.
Sure.
Not a bummer, because there's a lot of docuseries out there that are just straight downers, bro.
Like most.
yeah, a lot of them. We don't do a lot of like unsolved mysteries or like, cold case files. That's my wife finds that stuff very upsetting, and she's very prone to nightmares about that stuff. So we tend to avoid those. But this one is one that we had watched actually before. There's a season 2 of it, which we're watching now. We had never seen before, but it pretty much just kind of like closes the loop or attempts to close the loop on the first thing. But we rewatched Tiger King this week.
Dude, oh my God. Okay, I was about to say Tiger King is a joke just now.
No.
Nope. Okay.
No joke. It's no joke here, man. We circle back.
I don't know why I had a feeling that's where you were going. We did not talk about this.
Absolutely, man. We just out of the clear blue sky, man. I don't know. I don't even think it was on our recommends because it's 4 years old and it's not even really like relevant right now.
Sure.
But my wife and I were both sitting on the couch. We were like, I kind of want to watch Tiger King. And so we loaded it up, man. And I will tell you, this is my third time watching through at least season 1 of Tiger King. I didn't even know there was a season 2 until recently, but it still holds up, man. It is still completely bonkers. Still wild to me, man.
I remember the first, I say first, I think the only time for me watching it.
Yeah.
And the fact that like the whole thing was true, right? I feel like you could have made that fiction and thought, wow, this was a really crazy story.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that it was based off something that was actually happening. That good memories watching it. A weird time, like just in the world, maybe not.
Definitely.
Good memories outside of the show. But like, I remember watching that and just thinking, I cannot believe what is happening on this show.
And what's crazy is that the zoo, the Greater Winterwood, I forget what it's called. The GW Zoo, I think is what they call it, a shorthand. That's like less than an hour from my house. That is.
Have you made the trek?
Close. I have not made. It's closed. It's closed permanently now.
Okay, it's been a while.
And I think at the time I could have gone, it was still very much like, I don't know. I think like COVID was still kind of an inhibitor at the time, but absolutely like today. Would I go? Absolutely, man. It just not to see the animals, but to see these crazy people that exist against all odds, man. And I will tell you, it's worth a rewatch, man. I've seen it several times, but it never gets less crazy. Just all these people. There's not one morally redeemable person on this show.
Right.
There's like literally everyone is morally reprehensible at some level, man. From obviously like Joe Exotic and Jeff Lowe, the douchey edgelord biker dude who kind of like pushes him out of business.
Affliction buckle jeans guy.
Yeah, that guy with like the really egregious like goatee, to Carol Baskin, to all of them, dude. They're all just like extremely greedy, extremely predatory. Mm-hmm. And I think at one point, one of the characters, like, the real losers in all this is the animals. Like, they absolutely are.
Who was the dude that looked like Humpty Dumpty, like the egg-looking man?
Oh my God, yeah. I forget his name. The dude who straight up every week goes into his barber and asks him for this like terrible, terrible haircut.
He's the one that had that slow-mo shot on the jet ski, right?
That's jet ski guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he's a scumbag for sure. And it's weird because like there's several situations throughout where like you almost kind of want to root for one of these terrible people against the other one who's trying to screw them over or whatever, but they all give you every reason to know that they're awful. They're all awful on some level. There's a few people in there who are just kind of like collateral damage. They seem like nice people, but even best case scenario, like they're in a situation where they're allowing themselves to be duped by Joe Exotic or Carol Baskin, and it's like, oh God, man.
Even like that guy, I forgot if it was a girl or a guy, but they got their arm taken off by a tiger.
Yeah, right? that's Saf Safri is, I believe it's his name, like it's a he now, but that person got their arm bitten off and went back to work for Joe Exotic within a week, which is bonkers to me, man. I don't know, man. He is so he has all these like music videos and stuff, man. And it's one of those things, like, have you ever been so embarrassed that you can't look at a thing or at a person who's doing a thing?
Yeah.
Like his music videos will come on and I literally have to divert my gaze because it's so just like.
Didn't it come out that he had somebody, like, it does not sound like him at all.
Not a bit. Yeah, it would not. It surprised me none to find out that he absolutely had like a lip syncer at work.
Because it's like this beautiful like country voice, and then you hear him talk, and it's just like, what?
It's not a bad singing voice, but it doesn't match his like, guess what, motherfucker? Like, doesn't add up. Doesn't compute, man. Anyway,
I think season 2 was just made because season 1 was such a smashing hit. I feel like we watched 2, or at least maybe a couple episodes, and remember thinking like, there's nothing of substance here. This is just trying to cash in again.
It may have been Netflix trying to cash in. It certainly doesn't have the like twists and turns of this first season. I think we watched 2 episodes so far. It's definitely interesting to see more of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 1. If you're only going to watch one season, that's probably fine. Season 2 is really just more of the same of these crazy people and giving kind of updates. Like some people, go to jail. Some people continue to just do awful things. So we just finished the whole episode about Carol Baskin's supposedly dead husband and how she killed him, or he ran off to Costa Rica, and that was.
What do you think happened there? Do you think did she kill him, or did he run away?
Man, I haven't decided where I landed on this because it seems like there's enough data to support multiple possibilities there.
Yeah.
So the season 2 episode about him pretty much confirms that he would fly down to Costa Rica and purchase sex with minors, which is obviously aberrant behavior. And his kind of guide down in Costa Rica to in the interview is like, I told him not to do that because someone would kill him. Like, absolutely, it was they'll kill you for that. And I kind of think he did make it to Costa Rica, but I think he got murdered straight up. Damn. Yeah. I don't know. What about you? What do you think happened?
It's been so long. I don't have I like to think Carol killed him because it just makes the story that much like.
Yeah, and
I'm all
sucks.
About she does suck, and I'm
she sucks a whole lot.
What will make this as crazy as possible, and that outcome would be that. So I don't really know either way. It's been 4 years now since I watched it. I only watched it the one time when it came out. So, but I'm gonna say Carol did it.
It's not a bad theory, man. But anyway, we're crushing Tiger King, man. That's kind of been our go-to this week.
I like it. I like it quite a lot.
Very good. What are you crushing? Here, I'll do a camera check while he is.
All good?
All good.
Okay, cool.
One day we won't have to do that.
I know. So this is a sidebar, but I saw on Amazon these little clips that you can clip to the wall. It's a mirror. I'm going to get one of those so I can clip it on my curtain behind and then just see the reflection of the little red. So I don't have to go around the entire time.
Absolutely.
Anyways, ask me what I'm crushing.
What are you crushing, buddy?
I have a couple quick hits. They are so random. One's a show. I don't think you and I are going to connect on this. In fact, I don't think most of our audience and I am going to connect on this, but it's what I'm crushing right now.
All right.
And it is Love is Blind on Netflix.
We've talked about this a little bit.
We've talked about this. So my wife and I are like day one Love is Blind fanatics over here. Season 6 dropped, I don't know, last month or whatever. They do like 2 a year. And the basic premise is people date each other without seeing each other. So there's these pods, and there's, 20 girls and 20 guys, and they'll rotate and they'll just talk to each other.
Right.
And, you'll kind of narrow them down to like, the point is to fall in love with somebody without ever seeing them. It takes the appearance completely out of it and just fall for somebody for like who they are on the inside.
Right.
Which, whatever. I'm all about the drama. I love reality TV. I will watch The Bachelor. I don't care. Like I like drama, reality TV.
Yeah.
And so eventually they get kind of, people go home or whatever, and you propose to this person without ever seeing them. And so this is where the first part of the drama kind of comes in, is like sometimes you'll get like a hot that propose to like a not at all hot. They kind of mix like the hots and the nots in here.
Yeah.
And so after they propose, they send all the couples to like a beach resort. And so you got these people that like almost proposed to this person, but actually chose this person. And the one that they didn't choose is super hot. And the one that they did choose is super not. And it gets really weird, right? And then they live together, and then they meet each other's families. And then they have a wedding, and they go to the altar, and they have to say yes or no. And there's this huge buildup. And there's just these like points throughout the show where the drama just rises so high. It's so juicy. It's so good. And it all kind of like cultivates to this final, like their families are there, friends are there, people fly in and travel for this actual wedding. And they'll get all the way to the altar, and one will just be like, no, I can't do this. Like in front of everybody. It's crazy. And then people freak out. And finally, like at the end of each season, they'll have a reunion, because they shoot these, a year ago, and then they air it a year later, and then they'll have like a, the couples that were on the show, are they still together? Whatever. If you like reality TV, if you like drama, Love is Blind is like top notch.
Can they ask each other in the not seeing each other phase, like, hey, are you hot? Are you fat?
You're not supposed to. So there's a couple got like one guy was asking girls, like, say we were at a music festival, would I be able to put you on my shoulders? And and people didn't like him. That's really frowned upon. Some guy in this last season was asking, like, look, I get what the experiment is, but like, I can't propose to you without knowing that, knowing anything about what you look like. And that girl's not very happy. So you could, I guess, but the idea is to go in there and not talk about looks whatsoever. And so you're blindly proposing. It's just crazy. And people come back, and if you think about it too hard, you got to enjoy it on a surface level. Because you think about, like, you're really messing with these people, dude. Like, some people come out and just get, like, crazy internet hate. Like, it changes these people's lives. And so on a certain level, there's a sprinkle of, like, this feels a little icky, right?
Yeah.
Just for everybody's entertainment. But
I'm trying to think right here. I'm sitting here thinking, like, how would I game the system to, like, I don't know. I'd be like, when was the last time you did a deadlift? Like,
do you like working out? That's one. Like, hey, one of my hobbies is working out. Somebody's like, no, I've never worked out. You'll cross off the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on this last one, there was a lot of juice, because a lot of the people that came out that they went on the show and like were in relationships or whatever. And like the people they were in relationships with leaked all these text messages and whatever. So then they have to answer for like, did you just come on here for fame and all this stuff? It's pretty good. So
oh my God.
I don't know if our target audience would necessarily think Love is Blind is good.
We're not here to cater to y'all. Y'all are just here. Cody's watching Love is Blind. Y'all are going to sit there and listen about it. I'm interested. I would watch that. I think it's not something I naturally gravitate towards, but I would absolutely watch that.
I would start with the newest season. We've watched every single one of them. There's another one, I think, coming out later this year, but start with season 6. There's some stuff that you can kind of fast forward through, some skippable stuff, but like for the most part, it is just drama, golden drama. It's awesome.
Drama. I like it, man.
And Yeah, it's good. And then the other thing was a super quick. It's a beverage, so I'm going to get more into my vacation here in a moment. But for the last few days, I've spent significant time poolside. And my drink of choice, I haven't had this ever, really. My wife suggested it. But it's a Deep Eddy's lemon with soda, and it tastes like a sparkling lemonade. It's delicious.
What is Deep Eddy's?
So it's a brand of vodka. They do like flavored vodka. So
okay.
Deep Eddy, they have like plain vodka, but they have Deep Eddy's, grapefruit, watermelon, blueberry, lemon. Like it's just flavored vodka. There's not a ton of sugar in it. And if you kind of water it down with either just water or soda, then it, makes it sippable.
Gotcha.
And yeah, dude, Deep Eddy's lemon with soda. It's light. It's refreshing. And it tastes like you're drinking like a sparkling lemonade by the pool. So if you're sitting poolside this summer, consider getting you a bottle of Deep Eddy's lemon, a couple bottles of just soda
water. Does the
water.
drink have a name, or is it just Deep Eddy's and soda?
That's how I order it. I don't think it has like a name. You just order that vodka and put some soda in it.
We should make a name up for it, like a Crispy Eddy. Hey, bartender, give me a Crispy Eddy. There you go.
You're going to be explaining that afterwards every time. So consider that for your poolside drink of choice in 2024.
Ollie sounds like a solid wreck, man. All right.
But that's what I'm crushing.
Everybody sucks. Anus.
All right. Moving on to, if you will, the meat of the episode. Josh has a pretty big little life announcement that he'd like to announce here on this platform. And then we're going to have a little bit of vacation talk, so stick around for that. But what's new in your life?
Well, it's not. It's weird how we treat this as a society. I think we talked about it when we were talking about cars, because it's definitely something that I just went and did. But I have decided that Oklahoma is probably the best place for us to settle down as a family. So we're buying a house in Oklahoma.
All right. Did I tee it up too high?
I don't think you teed it up too high. I think in my mind I was just like, how to roll this out, because it's really like the biggest thing popping in my life right now.
Yeah.
My wife and I have been talking about settling down here for a long time. We're still in the military. Still could get moved somewhere. But yeah, I think for location purposes and how close we are to you guys and how close we are to my parents, it makes sense for us to settle down here. We know the area. Our kids have friends here. My wife has friends here. And we found a really cool town that is, most people know I'm at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Right outside of Fort Sill is a town called Lawton. I dog on Lawton a lot, but it's really not a bad town. It's just not a very cool town.
Sure.
Cody's been there. He can tell you there's just not a ton going on there that is that awesome. It's really...
It's got everything you need and nothing more. It's
that's pretty accurate. It really just has... If you need something, you can usually hit the town and find it. There's a couple kind of good local spots to eat at, but for the most part, it's like your Chili's and your B-dubs. Doesn't have much of an art scene. To say it doesn't have one, I think, is not correct. There are pockets of culture in Lawton.
Sure.
But for the most part, it's like a military town. It's pretty blank slate. There's nothing truly just like, I got to go there and see that about it.
Right.
On the other side of Fort Sill is a town called Medicine Park, which is almost, I tell my wife, it's like being in a different state. Yeah. It is incredibly different from Lawton.
More on that here in a little bit.
Yeah. It is, it's a very cool town. It's a very... it's small and it's right by the water, and it's just nothing but like local restaurants. There's a tattoo shop down there. They have a bluegrass festival going on right now, which is really cool. The whole town, it just shows up for fun stuff, man. And it's almost like a little hippie town. Yeah. Which kind of makes sense that we would live there because we're weird. So,
how far from like the base is it? How far from Lawton? What are we talking?
So from the base, it's maybe like a 10-minute drive. And really to get there, even from where I'm at now, like nothing here is very far from anything else. So it's probably 20 minutes from where I'm at right now. It's really not far. It's in a much, much prettier area of this area. There's trees. You walk out, there's like mountains right out the back door.
Wow.
It's really cute, serene, and it's not, the house is actually smaller, but I told my wife I kind of like that because I feel like it's going to force us to spend more time together as a family.
Sure.
So
Are you saying
I'm
smaller
really
than where you're at right now, or the house?
It is, yeah. No, it's smaller. It's smaller than what we're living right now.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, we I don't have anything against having a lot of space necessarily, but when your house gets so big that everyone's just kind of scattered in it, and you don't even know who's home. That's kind of where we're at right now, and it's not a bad place, like it's been a home for us, but for something more permanent, I think we wanted just to, something that kind of brings us together and has more of a communal feel, I guess.
That's an interesting topic on house size, because I'm living in the first and only house I've ever bought.
Right.
And my wife and I definitely overbought on square foot. It's not massive. I don't live in a huge house, but for just the two of us, it's way more space than we need. And we didn't really know that until we moved in. And you realize, okay, you have to clean all this space. You have to maintain all this space. Yeah. You have to, if you don't have the furniture to begin with, you have to furnish all this space. And if I could redo it, I would buy a house that was like 2/3 or like 3/4 the size of what I live in now. It's just too much for the two of us. And, we got the little one on the way, so that'll take up a little bit more space. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of a smaller house, man. I kind of miss being in a space that felt a little bit more intimate and was just easier to keep up with and everything. So I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah, and it's a little bit out in the country too, which I like. I'm not necessarily a country guy. I'm very indoorsy. I've actually, like this year, I've been really trying to get away from that. I've been, trying to get outside. I've been hiking a little bit this year.
Sure.
Really trying to be out. I know it's good for me, and I feel that it's good for me. So I really feel excited to get out there and have some space to kind of move around, and the neighbor's not like right there. It's really and it really has a lot of potential to be somewhere where we just kind of live out our days, honestly, which is weird to think about because I've been transient for the last 17 years. I haven't lived in a house for more than, I think, 3 years is the max, honestly.
I feel like that's got to be. I was actually telling my wife, you called me earlier and told me that, and after the phone call, I was like, man, I bet it's got to be really exciting for them. Just the idea of like I could be in this same space in 5 years or 10 years or whatever the time horizon is, because you guys have jumped around so much and lived in so many different places. I imagine that has to feel really, really comforting and really, really nice.
It is, and in some respects, it's kind of scary. You know what I mean? Because you move around so much, you kind of get used to the idea of being transient.
Sure.
And so, the thought of like setting down roots and living somewhere for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, it just feels foreign to us. You know what I mean? We move all the time, man, all the fucking time. We're just constantly picking up stakes and. Our furniture is beat to shit. You know what I mean? We just there's only so many times you can disassemble and reassemble something before it literally starts to disintegrate.
Yeah.
And, the military family experience is that over and over and over again. Some people are lucky and they get to stay in a place for, I know people who've been here, for instance, for like 5 years. And I'm like, I don't know what that feels like at all. Can't relate. Yeah. So it's exciting to me. It's exciting to get a chance to kind of plant our stake down and start looking at the future, start looking at a life, outside of the Army, which is kind of weird to think about. I've been in the Army for my entire adult life. Mm-hmm. So getting out and figuring out what I do as a resident here is kind of exciting to think about. So
what are the odds, and I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but what are the odds that you would be sent somewhere else to live at some point, or like would Yeah. I mean, I guess that.
Yeah. I mean, they're not zero. You know what I mean? I've got, I had 16 years in the Army at the beginning of the month, so I still got 4 years until I can actually like retire. They could send me all over the place in that 4 years. I've been sent to a place for as little as a year, so
yeah,
they could move me around 2 more times if they wanted to.
So
hopefully they
assume,
wouldn't
like,
do that.
If you got moved around though, like you have this house and it's just you'll come back to it once you
That
get
would
done
be
with
the
Army?
idea. Yeah, we'll probably, if we do have to leave the area, we would rent it out, which I don't like doing. Like it's a one thing. Like if you buy a house to rent it out, but if it's a house that you're like, I want to live in it, but I can't live in it right now. I'm gonna live in it later, so someone else is gonna live in it now. It's I don't know. It's an odd feeling. It's putting a lot of trust. And some people, my dad always said, and I don't know that this is. Actually, I'm not going to say that because that's maybe a problematic statement. But, people who rent can span the spectrum of people who are, just in kind of an in-between place and just need a place. They don't want to buy a house.
Sure.
To people who will tear your property up. They will.
Yeah.
They're out there and it sucks. And hopefully that doesn't happen. But luckily, we also have a really great realtor in the area. Notice I said realtor, not realtor, because realtor is not a word. We have a really great realtor who does property management for us.
Man, I think I'm a realtor guy.
No, it's not. There's no such thing. It's realtor.
Realtor. You go. How do you say theater?
Theater.
Probably
wrong, but
I go theater.
Theater.
Yeah,
I'd say theater. Let's go to the theater.
Anyways.
Movie theater.
Realtor.
Got realtor is not a word.
Jeff.
They will say that in commercials. They'll say realtor. I'm like, that's wrong. Like when people say nuclear instead of nuclear.
What? Say it again.
Like a nuclear warhead.
Right.
How do you say it?
Nuclear.
Okay, that's correct.
Okay.
Some people
How do people say it?
Nuclear.
Nuclear. Oh
nuclear
man.
warhead.
No,
yeah.
I don't go that far.
No, yeah, it's wrong. Good, don't go that
It is
far.
wrong. GIF.
Wrong. Yeah. No, GIF.
I knew that was going to get you.
Yeah.
I say GIF. It sounds better. I don't care if it's GIF.
No, it doesn't. It sounds like peanut butter. I hate it.
So
anyway,
that's cool.
Thank you.
I don't know if you hope to or do not hope to. It sounds like you hope you do not get sent somewhere else.
I would like to just be stable for a while. I mean, we're right here, with you. Like getting sent somewhere else is definitely from a Hardpoint standpoint, like it would complicate how we run the podcast. We wouldn't get to do as many like live and in color episodes, but we'd keep it rolling. I don't worry about that so much. But
I'm happy. Oh, go ahead. I cut you off.
I was gonna say it's just like being away from family. Like my parents are starting to get older, and we live close to them now, so. I'm not necessarily like eager to move away from them either,
Sure. I'm happy about this purchase on multiple levels. One being just y'all found a house that you like and getting to settle down that makes me happy. Yeah. The next one being like my wife and I don't plan on leaving this general area anytime soon.
Right.
And so I feel like this really like solidifies a minimum distance between you and I.
Yeah.
Because for a long time we lived in completely different places and sometimes different countries altogether,
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool. Like I have not taken for granted you being a 2.5 hour drive away from me. That's
yeah. I feel like even before we started
granted.
The show, we really were maximizing that and spending a lot of time together.
Yeah. So I feel like this sets like a minimum distance, and that makes me happy. And the third one is. We got a little bit of a little detached situation over there, don't we?
Oh yeah. No, it totally has a detached garage. We're gonna re-outfit that. My plan is to turn it into a studio where we can not just shoot episodes, but make all kinds of content and make fun stuff. I think it'll do well. It takes some time to get it put together, but it doesn't need a whole lot, to be honest. So
yeah,
my biggest thing is getting it temperature controlled. Like it is so hard to work on a project when you're like, even like we live in a heated AC house right now.
Yeah.
And the room I got stuck with for my little zone is the one that doesn't get cooled. the most, so it's consistently ridiculously hot in there. Cody can attest. So hopefully being able to keep my creative space cool will be a little simpler this go around. But yeah, we'll have a little. My wife, it's got a shed and a detached garage. My wife was saying, well, I'm going to make that my she shed. And I said, well, then that's the he house over there. So we got the she shed and the he house.
I like it. I'm happy for you, man. Everybody
Thanks,
clap
man.
for Josh.
Yeah, I'll clap for myself. Big boy.
Round of applause.
You took a little trip this weekend, man. This week rather.
Yeah.
Took a little sconce down to San Antonio. Yeah.
I'm fresh off vacation. The first thing I need to say is I've been referring to this vacation I think it was just the last episode as our baby moon. Remember me saying that?
Yeah. Yes, I
do.
do.
The other key part that I failed to mention about this vacation is it was also our 2-year anniversary.
That kind of dawned on me while y'all were gone because those pictures. So if anyone doesn't know, I was in Cody's wedding, so I'm in a lot of the pictures from the wedding. So those were kind of popping up on my timeline this weekend. I was like, oh yeah, man, happy 2-year anniversary to you.
Thank you. That's part of the reason we got married. My wife is a teacher, so having the wedding like at the beginning of spring break made sense. So our anniversary is on spring break each year. But she was like, "You just said it was the baby moon," and I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You remember the other part of that, right? It's our 2-year anniversary."
Yeah, so, totally. Yeah.
That too. My bad. So we went down to the Hill Country area.
Yeah.
It was a resort just outside of San Antonio. Maybe it was actually in San Antonio, but kind of on the outskirts, called La Cantera.
La Cantera.
What does
Cantera mean?
I don't know. I didn't translate.
I'm going to look it up while you're talking. It's going to bug me.
All right. Look it up while I'm talking. I got to say, it was less than 5 hours. We're talking 4 hours and 40 minutes from my house, so not terrible. We wanted to find somewhere like nice, resorty. I didn't really want to fly somewhere. I don't know why. I just didn't have that in me. And we planned things last minute, so there was kind of a just availability and price factor. When you plan things 2 weeks out, it looks a lot different than 6 months out, which we don't seem to be capable of. So there was that as well. The drive down there, less than 5 hours, not bad. It was a lot of traffic, though. I don't know if it was just spring break or what, but from here to our resort was like, there was no open highway. It wasn't bumper to bumper like stopped, but it was just cars.
Lots of cars, yeah.
All around you for 5 hours. Like, it should have been an easy drive. It was relatively short, but when I got there, I felt spent. It's just like I don't like a really anxious drive, I guess.
Yeah.
Just being that like aware for that long. Yeah.
White knuckle, yeah.
No open road. I gotta say, did you look it up? Did you find out?
Yeah, it means the quarry or a pit.
It was on a hill or a mountain, so that doesn't make a lot of sense.
That does make sense. It's the opposite.
That is the opposite. Maybe it just sounded cool.
Yeah. It definitely sounds cooler in Spanish than in English. Like, hey, come to our getaway resort, the pit, where you can battle it out with swords and spears. Yeah,
La Cantera definitely sounds nicer.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I am typically more of a travel guy as opposed to a vacation, which I think are two different things.
Right.
I normally like to go somewhere and like explore that area or that town. Maybe even like stay multiple places while you're gone. Vacation to me is more like relaxing is the number one objective.
Yes.
And so this was a little bit different. But for the baby moon, we didn't want to get somewhere and like have to travel around. We were looking to get somewhere and basically not have to leave that area. So a resort made sense.
Makes sense.
And it's not the first time I've been in a resort, but it's the first time in like 3 years I've been to a resort. Now I got to say, resort life, pretty sweet, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah. Did you pamper yourself a little bit?
We did. So we had a spa day. They had a full blown spa there, and like that's what we spent the whole day doing. Like, if you go there, they have this separate private pool, and they got like steam rooms, saunas, what was it called? Oh my God,
like
I'm
cryotherapy
blanking.
or
Yeah, but the pool was called oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking. Anyways, it was like a heated pool, and they had fire all along the side of it, and like these scuppers that were going in it, and you're in this room, so it's vitality pool. There we go. Vitality pool.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty sweet. So
vitality pool.
You get there, you check in, they give you like your locker, you put these robes and these slippers on, and I went and hit a workout. There's a gym in there, and then went and laid out by the pool, got a little protein smoothie, and then I went up and hit the steam room, sweated it out, jumped in the vitality pool, put this they had these bowls with like rags that were in ice water. So I'm floating in this like heated vitality pool with this ice rag just on my face, just like, oh man, yeah. It was nice. And then we had a massage. So that was a spa day. But the regular days, you wake up, go to the gym, had a nice little workout, go work out in your swim trunks, right? With your backpack, everything you need.
Sure.
And then you go get a little protein smoothie, go straight to the pool, chill there for a few hours, float around, lay out, get some sun, order a couple cocktails, and then go back to the room, shower, change, walk to dinner. They have like 3 restaurants in that resort, so you don't actually have to go anywhere. And then go hit the lobby bar or walk around. They had fire pits. It was a huge property with a ton of just like vantage points that you could look out over the city or look out over the hill country or whatever. Just a lot of space, a lot of nooks and crannies to kind of set up shop and just hang out.
What was like the average age of your co-resorters? Like, were they younger people like you, or were the older crowd, or?
So you had a lot of the older people that were probably on the other side of kids.
Right.
This was not an adult only. There were quite a bit of kids, but they had an adult only pool. And then obviously like past a certain time, most of the kids were gone. So you had areas that were adult only, but you certainly had a lot of the families with kids and stuff like that. And then a sprinkle of the younger people. I would say it was majority like mid to older age. We didn't see a lot of like young people besides kids that were kids that were with families or whatever.
Right.
But the adult only pool was awesome. It had its own bar over there they would walk around and take you could get food ordered to your little lounger. You could get a drink brought right to you. And it was like a negative edge, like infinity edge pool that just looked over the hill country, and you could swim to the edge of it and just look down on like just the rolling hills and everything. And you want to talk about not feeling like you're in Texas. Good? Okay, cool. You want to talk about being in Texas and not feeling like you're in Texas at all. I didn't realize, I've been to Austin, San Antonio. I was little. I barely remember anything about it.
Right.
It is beautiful in the hill country over there. It does not look like you're in Texas.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
What is do you have experience just like in the hill country in general? You used to live near or in
we lived in San Antonio. We lived smack downtown. So to say that we know that terrain very well is probably not accurate. I've definitely driven through it, definitely been there.
Yeah.
It's positively gorgeous, but when we lived in San Antonio, we were definitely more in like the concrete jungle type. Sure. Did I see correctly that you guys did get to go down to the Riverwalk? We
did go down there. We had a little bit of extra time. I think we were 20 minutes from it. That was the other thing is you're 20 minutes from downtown, but when you're in that resort, you feel like you're hours from any town. Like no noise, like you feel like you're way out there. And we were San 20 Antonio, minutes from...
You once mentioned that Nashville is a city where it's like you can be out in the country one second and then smack downtown the next.
Yes.
With relative ease. San Antonio's kind of like that.
Yes.
At least when there's not like peak traffic hours, but you can get from downtown to the outskirts of town to like the hill country as an example fairly quickly. And it is a big jump. Like you go from like concrete jungle to serene valley. You know what I mean?
Which I love. That's why I'm in love with Nashville, is because like you can be in the middle of downtown and less than 10 minutes later, you feel like you're an hour outside of downtown. Like it's
Exactly.
it's really nice. And there were some parts of this trip that we were driving through, like going to and from the resort, you know, the first time getting there and then leaving and then going to the Riverwalk, where it felt like, if I squinted here, it kind of looks like Tennessee. Like there's a lot of trees, a lot of greenery.
Yeah.
It was nice, man. We had several days in a row of just wake up, breakfast, gym, pool for hours, walk to dinner, and then, you know, go relax in the hotel or whatever. We're big fans of like doing the most during the day. And then there's something about watching a movie in a hotel room that I really like. And I don't want to catch it start to finish. I want to catch something that I'm kind of familiar with an hour or two, you know, in the middle of that movie. And I don't know. There's something really fun about that to me. It's kind of odd.
Absolutely, man.
It was good. We had a great time. And for not having to fly anywhere, it's just like the biggest bang for your buck, honestly.
Yeah, man.
I will.
I think I want to do a better job, especially like looking at this new area as kind of like a forever home, of seeing what is around me that mirrors like vacation. Like if someone was going to vacation to where I'm at, what would they do? Right. Luckily, the town we're moving to is kind of one of those towns. Like people travel from far away just to come and see Medicine Park, which is cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
But yeah, like you don't necessarily always need to get in a plane and fly away or drive 10 hours.
Right.
You know, I'm a pretty bad like example of someone who like knows their area and has situational awareness of their area like that. So I'm trying to do a better job. But that's good to know that you can just kind of jump, skip, and hop down the road.
Dude,
and find something like that.
It's right there. And everybody there was so nice. They upgraded our room. You know, I knew our occasion, and so I was not afraid to like try to work that front desk person.
Yeah, play that anniversary baby moon card.
Oh yeah, dude. And she upgraded us from, you know, we picked like the cheapest room we could at the time or whatever.
Yeah.
And they upgraded us to a top floor hill country view. We see the pool and then like the hill country for free just because we were there on that occasion. Like
nice.
Hardcore upgrade. I will say, so that the way that it works there, it's a resort. It's not all inclusive. You just charge stuff to your room.
Right.
And so it's really easy to like, you don't have to deal with it in the moment. You know, they're like, hey, you want a drink or dinner? Like, don't worry about it right now. We'll just put it to the room, you know? And then at the end,
come payday,
you get your bill. And I'll tell you what, that meter runs pretty hot. They know that you're there and you're unlikely to drive anywhere else to get your basic like food, water, drinks, whatever.
Right.
And it adds up.
Yeah.
It adds up.
I
but it was good.
What's a crispy Eddie run you?
What does that mean?
Your crispy Eddie, your drink that you got.
Oh, we're talking $16.
Oh, man. For one.
I'm telling you, it adds up. It adds up. But that's why, like, they'll bring you the menu and you're just like, put it to the room, you know, and then you kind of deal with that. Same with the dinner, like the spa day, like you just put it to the room, you know, give me your room number and you're good to go. And then at the end, I mean, everything, it is not cheap. I'm not even going to try and say that it is, but we weren't there we had 3 full days and then 2 travel days on either side.
Right.
I was telling my wife, I'm like, some of these families, when we first got there, the lady that we pulled up into the carport behind had just got there. And they're like, how long are you here for? And she said 2 weeks. And she had kids with, I mean, dude, people probably run like thousands and thousands and $1,000s worth of like a bill up over that time. It's ridiculous. I told her, I'm like, it was just you and me. She wasn't drinking, mind you. You know, she's pregnant. So it's just me. And I didn't have a lot. But even that, I was like, wow, that was 2 people and one that wasn't drinking. I cannot imagine 2 parents that are drinking with 1, 2, 3, 4 kids. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Throw
man.
even one kid in the mix, man, because they'll upcharge kids meals and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
and speaking of, I got a little bone to pick. So she was every now and then she would order a mocktail.
Yeah,
right, because you kind of want to feel like you're in the mix.
Right. No
Tell
price
me
differential.
why there is precisely a $0 discount for a mocktail versus the actual drink.
Yeah. All you're giving her is like sweet and sour and food coloring at that point.
And full price. Full price. I'm like, what? Really? I thought that was pretty wild, but 3 full days is about all you need. It was a big property, not so massive where like you had something new to do every day for 7 days or whatever, but we enjoyed ourselves. Got back today. We drove back, and when you called me, I didn't answer. We hit a mega storm on the way back home, dude. Like, we had to pull over 2 times.
So this trip was like sandwiched between stressful ass drives. That's nice.
That's what I told her. I'm like, coming and going, like anxiety level on 10, just like white knuckling. I already hate storms, tornadoes, hail. Like, the only thing worse than that is being in a car.
Yeah.
In that. And 2 times we had to stop under a bridge because I couldn't see 3 feet in front of me. It was raining so hard. And like, it's kind of green everywhere. You know, when the sky gets that greenish tint, which
that's
spooky. Who knows what that? Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm hearing like high pitched noises, low rumbles. I'm like kind of sweating, dude. I'm pretty scared. Like, what are we right in the middle of this thing?
Yeah.
Is there a tornado I can't see? Like, if it starts hailing, man, and that was like in the first 10% of the drive. Like, we get through that, and then it's like, oh, we still have 4 hours to go.
God, man.
But we're back, all safe, all good. 2 thumbs up for La Cantera and the Hill Country.
The pit, the quarry.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
The pit.
Very good. All right, great episode. We're going to do a couple write-ins here, wrap things up. You can drop us a line on our Discord. There's a channel specifically called Questions for Podcast. Drop in there, ask a question, start a topic.
Q's for P.
Huh?
Q's for P.
Oh, Q's for P. Okay, I see what you did there. I like that. Q's for P, if you will.
See how much time I saved?
Excellent. Edward Pello asks, what did you want to be when you left high school? Did you do that, and was it expected, or was it what you expected? I wanted to be in the military, and I did 10 years in the Australian Air Force. Got another Aussie with us here.
Oh, nice.
I both loved and hated it. Also, Fallout 5, keen or not? We'll get to that Fallout question here in a second. For me, I wanted to play music. I wanted to play music and be an actor. And as we all know, that's not how it panned out. But, when I dropped out of high school, actually. A lot of people don't know. I have a GED. Didn't finish high school. Didn't like high school. But, I wanted to make stuff and create stuff. But I had zero discipline. And I was not very good at managing my money. And I was not very reliable. So, I didn't really have the discipline to make my dreams happen. Now I do, but it took, being in the military to learn that discipline. Things panned out, though. I'm not mad at the way things turned out. So yeah, What about you, Cody?
Man, I was trying to think that whole time. I don't remember coming out of, I remember being little maybe and having some, I'd like to be a
astronaut.
I don't know. Yeah. A golfer. I was in high school and middle school, really big on golf. And I was actually pretty good there for a little bit before I got in my accident, which might be a story for later down the road, actually.
Yeah. I remember when that happened. Yep.
Yeah. And it really was like a turning point in my golfing, career or whatever.
Sure.
I quit playing sometime in high school, so I don't guess that would be applicable with this question. But I didn't go straight into college. I don't have a college degree. I didn't go to any universities. I think I just remember I don't know. I don't think I had a whole lot of aspiration coming out of high school, honestly. I remember there was a time where I really wanted to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
I thought that I don't know, dude. I was at a long time ago. I went to this bar, and there just happened to be this random firefighter next to me, and we struck up a conversation. And he was like telling me how badass it was. He drove the fire truck, and he was telling me like his schedule. He's like, we do 24 on, 48 off, and he's like, every time I leave work, I'm going into a weekend, basically. And I was like, that's pretty sweet. Now, the fact that I was at a bar, that was well after high school, so again, probably didn't fit this question, but I just remember there being a time of like, man, firefighters, pretty sweet. Everybody loves them. Pretty sweet schedule. You know, and clearly I'm not a firefighter, so I didn't follow that very hard.
Also panned out for you. Look at you now, bud.
Yeah, look at me now. Yeah.
Look at you now. Yeah. For the Fallout 5 question, I don't know, man. Cody and I feel kind of burnt by Bethesda, so I don't know that I'm necessarily amped for anything that Bethesda's going to make at this point. It would need to have an extreme uptick in polish from what we saw with Starfield for me to want to dive in. And I hate saying that. I feel like Bethesda is not making the transition into modern gaming very gracefully. But
hey, man, Starfield sucked because they were focusing on Fallout 5 so much. So
yeah, maybe Elder Scrolls 6, or maybe this new Fallout show that actually looks fairly decent.
Yeah,
on Amazon Prime. I actually will watch that. That looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it looks true to the game without being hokey in a weird way. So I'm there for the show. I'm there to try.
When does it come out? Do you know? Is it?
I think it's
close?
coming out in a couple weeks. Yeah, like April maybe.
Maybe we'll have to do like a. I know we didn't stick with it with True Detective.
Watch and review. Yeah, I feel more excited about watching Fallout than I do True Detective. So
yeah.
Put that Edward Pello got another one here. Would you rather live in a future based on Fallout? Got a Fallout fan here. Right. Cyberpunk, Star Trek, or Starfield?
Starfield's off the table. I want to live a shitty future.
Yeah, where no one can like emote properly. Everyone's just real rigid and robotic.
Man, I gotta say Cyberpunk. I think like that world's kind of dirty.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, dirty and grimy and whatever, but like it
seems
sick.
like people, the denizens of what is it, Night City, are all living fairly decent lives.
Yeah. It looks the closest to just like the evolution of what we know today.
Yeah.
You know, like it's clearly different from reality that we know today, but it's not Star Trek, you know. I've never even fucking watched Star Trek hardly. And Fallout just seems plain scary to live in that world, so
yeah, no thanks.
Definitely Cyberpunk without a doubt.
Yeah, I think so. It seems like a neat world to inhabit. Man, I need to fire that game back up.
We got to the same point, I think.
Yeah.
And after Christmas, just kind of, I don't know, my gaming season ended abruptly.
I know.
But
been doing too much damn hell diving, and getting beat by Cody and MLB The Show.
24 is coming out soon. I'll have to run it online.
I know, man. I need to get back in there and get a win. I've been beat down. Thanks, Edward Pello, for the questions.
Thanks, Edward.
Snakebite Pain. Thank you for writing in, man. I made it to the theater over the weekend for Dune 2. Phenomenal movie, but I have to ask. Do you think 1 and 2 stand on their own, or should they finish the saga? Now, Cody, I know, has not read any of the books. I've only read the first book. I kind of know what happens. After the first book, it goes off the fucking rails. Dune gets probably too weird for cinema audiences at large to fucking understand or enjoy.
Really?
It gets real odd, man, and there's a lot of stuff that probably only makes sense in a book.
Sure. So book 1 is movies 1 and 2 combined, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
The first book, Dune, is just the 2 movies together. I'm gonna say this, and it's not necessarily because I have a like or dislike for the rest of the Dune books. I want Denis Villeneuve, the director of Dune 1 and 2, to move away from Dune and start making other stuff again. I love anything I've seen from him has been really good. Sicario was badass. I really liked Arrival.
Dude. Okay, I'm not familiar with that director. I didn't know that was all that guy. Arrival is like one of the most memorable movies I've ever seen in my life. I saw it in theaters.
Is great.
And that's one of those where you think about it for days. Oh,
absolutely.
Arrival, dude.
Blade Runner 2049. Blade Runner 2049 is another one that I really, really liked. I really think that was a great on-ramp for him to make Dune. I almost like it better than Dune, actually, like looking back at it. 2049 goes really hard. I've said this over and over again. I don't think there should ever be a Metal Gear Solid movie. I don't think that's the right move. I think if anything, it should probably be a TV series. But if someday in the future they finally get that project out of development hell and they do make a Metal Gear Solid series, or a Metal Gear Solid movie, I can't talk tonight, I think Denis Villeneuve would serve that IP very well. I think he would make a really sick Metal Gear Solid movie.
Why do you think it shouldn't be a movie?
I think it's a density problem, right? Like there's too much. Video game live action movies to date have not been good. I don't think there's anyone at the producer studio level that gives a shit about video games, or at least gives a shit about making a video game movie correctly.
Sure.
Clearly that is not the case in television, because now we have things like The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. You can say what you want about The Witcher being more based on the books than the game, but there's certainly a lot in there that is from the game that makes a lot of sense, and makes that show at least palatable. It's good. Right. I think we're going to start seeing, and this Fallout show looks very promising. I was ready for it to look like shit, and it looks actually kind of interesting, and I'm excited to see this girl, this vault dweller, go 8-10 episodes, however long it's going to be, through the wasteland. I think that's going to be fun and interesting.
Is it supposed to be its own like independent story, the Fallout?
I think so. Yeah, there's no one in the trailers that is there's a lot of characters in Fallout who wear a cowboy hat or rock the power armor, right? But I don't think they are specifically saying this is that character. Each game is kind of like anthology, right? Like it's a new main character, new quest line, everything like that. So, but conversely, you got like the Borderlands movie that looks like donkey shit. It looks so fucking terrible. It looks like Wish.com Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not interested in that at all. So I would only want to see a Metal Gear Solid movie in the hands of someone who is going to give it all the love and attention that people want from it. And really, honestly, one of the bigger reasons is Metal Gear Solid is already kind of a movie. You know what I mean? Right. There's cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid 4 that run an hour plus. Straight up.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You could absolutely, if you never want to play the games, you can get on YouTube and Google Metal Gear Solid the movie or Metal Gear Solid 2 the movie, and all it does is take out most of the gameplay stuff and you watch the cutscenes, and it is awesome still. It's more fun to me to play the games, obviously, but if you want to know the story and you don't have time or want to play the games, just YouTube it. It's already there. But that's just me. Anyway, the question wasn't about that. It was about Dune. I don't know. I think we're done with Dune.
I kind of agree. I never read any of the books. I don't even know what happens past here, but I think if there were no books and this was like a standalone story, I would not feel the need for like any continuation. I think that it ended not with all the questions answered, but you know, sometimes when things end and the rest is left to your imagination, you know, I think that can be more effective than, I don't know, overdoing it with another movie. And 1 and 2 were so solid, where if they made 3 and it flopped or it sucked or the book just didn't translate to a movie very well, it would tarnish like how legendary 1 and 2 were. You know, I think leave it at that and move on. Quit while you're on top.
Exactly. Quit while you're ahead. Dune looks so amazing. Dune 1 and 2 look so amazing. They made it for less than they make any of the last 5 Marvel movies that came out, and it looks so much bigger and so much better. Yeah. I want to see what this guy does with a different story. I want to see him tell a different story, whether it's in space or a period piece or, whatever. I think he's going to be one of the great directors of our time for sure. He already is. So
yeah, no, those movies you listed off are pretty sweet.
Money.
Pretty sweet little movies.
Yeah. I do 1 and 2 are solid, and I actually can't wait for 2 to come out so I can, I think we talked about on a recent episode. That'll be a fun, hey, let's crush 1 and 2 in one sitting.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Lord of the Rings type watch through. So, good questions, man. Hey, that's probably going to do it for us this week. Just a reminder, next week we are going to be doing a live episode. We'll put the date in the description.
Yep.
So please tune in to the One Punch Dad YouTube channel. That's onexpunchxdad. We're going to be live. We'll take breaks in there so we can interact with the chat and say hey to you guys. And we're going to post that video on my channel. Again, that's just kind of an effort to get in front of some new eyes and bring more people in on what the Hardpoint's doing. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. Episode 20 is crazy, man.
Go the Hardpoint.
Yay, Hardpoint. We're doing good. But yeah, man. Hey, thanks for squeezing this in at the tail end of your vacation, man. That's I'm glad we got to pull this off.
I had a fun time talking with you tonight.
Oh, me too, buddy. But that's it for us. I just want to wish you guys Baja blessings upon your little foreheads. Trying to give you a little kiss. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See ya.